There's a quiet discomfort that settles in long before you enter a crowded room, a subtle tightening in your chest, a sense that something about this environment demands more from you than you are willing to give, even if you can't quite explain why. And while others seem energized by the noise, the overlapping conversations, the constant motion, you feel yourself pulling inward, scanning for exits, wondering how soon you can leave without appearing rude. It's easy to label this reaction as shyness, introversion, or social anxiety, but those words barely scratch the surface of what is really happening beneath the calm exterior you show the world. So let me ask you something worth sitting with for a moment. When you're in a crowd, do you feel afraid of people, or do you feel overwhelmed by what's happening inside your own mind? Because these two experiences are not the same, and confusing them often leads people to misunderstand themselves for years. To understand why some people instinctively avoid crowds, we need to move past surface-level explanations and into the deeper mechanics of human cognition and emotion. The brain is not a neutral observer. It is constantly filtering, predicting, and regulating stimulation. And for certain individuals, crowded environments push these systems far beyond their optimal range. Research in cognitive psychology shows that humans differ significantly in sensory processing sensitivity, a trait that influences how strongly we react to noise, movement, emotional cues, and social complexity. For people high in this sensitivity, a crowd isn't just a group of people, it's a dense web of facial expressions, micro-emotions, shifting social dynamics, and unpredictable stimuli all arriving at once. One psychological group that often struggles in crowds consists of people with heightened emotional attunement, those who unconsciously track the moods and intentions of others. These individuals tend to score higher in empathy-related traits and are more responsive to social signals, which can be a strength in one-on-one interactions but becomes draining in large groups. In a crowd, their attention fragments as they absorb emotional data from multiple directions, leading to mental fatigue and a desire to withdraw. This isn't avoidance, it's self-regulation. The nervous system is signaling that it needs less input, not more distance from people themselves. Another group includes individuals with a strong internal locus of control and a well-developed sense of identity. For them, crowds feel subtly threatening not because of danger, but because of dilution. Social psychology has long studied how group settings can reduce individuality, encouraging conformity, shallow interaction, and performative behavior. If you value depth, authenticity, and intentional connection, crowded environments may feel hollow or misaligned with how you naturally engage with the world. You may notice yourself becoming quieter, more observant, even slightly detached, not out of insecurity, but because your mind is resisting a mode of interaction that feels superficial or energetically inefficient. There's also a third psychological layer that often goes unrecognized: cognitive load. Crowds demand constant decision-making: where to stand, how to move, who to acknowledge, what social rules apply in each moment. For people who think deeply and process information thoroughly, this ongoing stream of micro-decisions can become exhausting. Neuroscience research suggests that when cognitive load increases, emotional regulation becomes more difficult, which can explain why some people feel irritable, numb, or desperate to escape in busy social spaces even when nothing overtly negative is happening. What ties these experiences together is not a flaw in your personality, but a mismatch between your internal processing style and the external environment. Modern culture often rewards visibility, sociability, and constant engagement, subtly framing discomfort with crowds as something to overcome. But psychological health isn't about forcing yourself into environments that drain you. It's about understanding how your mind works and choosing contexts that allow you to function at your best. When you realize this, something shifts. Hating crowds stops feeling like a limitation and starts looking more like information, a signal from your nervous system about what it needs to stay balanced, focused, and emotionally present. You may still attend social gatherings, concerts, or public events, but you'll do so with clearer boundaries and less self-judgment, knowing that your preference for quieter spaces isn't avoidance, it's awareness. And perhaps the most important insight is this: disliking crowds doesn't mean you dislike people. Often, it means you experience people more intensely than most, and your mind simply asks for room to breathe. If this resonates with you, take a moment to reflect on how often you've misread your own needs and consider what might change if you started honoring them instead. If this perspective helped you understand yourself a little better, you may want to explore more of these quiet psychological patterns that shape who we are beneath the surface.